Welcome to the Pagan Playground book review. I'm wondering if I should have like a nice title for this particular series, but this is Divine Destiny, book 1 of the Amberlin series by W. Bradford Swift. And there's no like cover to this particular book. And I got a reviewer's copy. And I kind of went in with sort of trepidation because I'm like, okay, well, it's a reviewer's book. It's, you know, somebody wants me to review it, maybe it's not going to be all that great. And so I kind of went in like, no. So when I got back to the author, he's like, well, can you know, I noticed that you liked this book. I write something similar. Would you like to review this for me? So I'm like, okay, fine. But I told him, it's like, don't expect pink roses and all that stuff. You know, if it sucks, it's gonna suck. You know, I'm gonna tell you. You know, you're gonna get the good and the bad. You know, and or the bad. So I start the book, and I actually enjoyed it. Now I'm putting it on this channel because there's a skew that I need to do where this book really kind of annoyed me in some ways. It's set in a town called Golden Acres, which is a Christian community somewhere in the south. They kind of mention about being Southern polite. I don't know. I'm in the Northeast, so I have no idea what that means. So the whole community, you just want to collectively just slap. You know, these are hyper Christians that will do the most evil things, especially the villain, all in the name of God. And it's like, what is wrong with you people? And they just annoyed the royal hell out of me. But it's kind of weird because you've got the hyper Christians, but then you've got the pagans, which are very, very, they don't identify as pagans, they're just sort of slightly hinted that they do pagan things, where the grandfather gives Amberlin a deck of tarot cards, or I think they might be more oracle cards. They're like animal oracle cards, but he doesn't like specify that's what they are, but it's obvious that's what they are. And he has like a thing, a tree that's like evolution, which could, you know, it's basically just science. That's sort of the whole third, you know, another thing. A statuette of Buddha. So in this hyper-Christian community, the grandfather's teaching Amberlin the other side of the picture. And it's especially interesting because Amberlin and her family, or at least the women in her family, have, I hate to call them superpowers because he doesn't deal with them in enough time or enough way to really consider them that. They have special talents like telekinesis and more empathy, I think, more than telepathy. So he considered that, he calls his book paranormal, but there's very little of that in the book. Most of the book is dealing with these hyper-Christians, especially the wife of the pastor, which kind of, she's sort of the Winnowill, if you read ElfQuest, of the series. And I hate this woman. So much so that I would not touch the rest of the books if I have to deal with this woman one more time. And it's like, how can people be so stupid not to see this? You know, where, oh, these people must burn, they have these, you know, powers, and they literally burn, you know. Just, the villains in this, the community, it was such an overpowering part of this book. And you're like, I want to see the, you know, Amberlin and her grandfather do more with, like, read the cards and, you know, his aspect of things where, you know, it's not all just this black and white cutout that the community is, you know, created, that there's so much more to the world. And it just, like, annoyed me, and I, you know, Amberlin and her friends, and, you know, I wanted to spend more time with them, and not in this, like, hyper-Christian community where you're, like, you know, you're sitting there with a bucket of water waiting for them to light the match, you know, it's like, So, if you're, you know, interested in, like, paganism, or if you are a pagan, or if you're anything, sensitive into that area, you're probably going to hate this book. Even though he doesn't celebrate the sort of hyper-Christianity. It's so much a part of the book where you're like, just make it stop already. So I would give it a 30% rating, 40% rating. It was interesting up until like the end where it was like, it just got too much. It just annoyed me. And it's a young adult book, so it might not be as, taxing to read. But for me, it was like, yeah. There was something that Papa Herb kind of said that, there's more than one way of looking at things. If you've got gifts, if you are a little outside the box, it's not necessarily wrong. It's just another way that God does stuff. It's not just, okay, I'm only doing it this way. You might be a little more creative than that. And that's what kind of the other end of the world kind of realizes now. So, that is my half-cocked review of Amberlin, the Amberlin series, Book 1, Divine Destiny. So, thank you for watching, and blessed be.